Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Freeline FM.
Hey, hello, brothers and sisters, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, lads and ladesses, friends and neighbours, all of you out there, from me in here, welcome to Freeline FM. We're on the news desk. I'm Israel Ben Heeman. Hey, we've got a news story for you. It's one that we all ought to be interested in, really. It shows up just how crazy the lunatic left really are. Within days of Donald J. Trump being re-elected to the presidency of the United States, sneaky Joe Biden and giggling Vice President Harris, because that's all she does. Kamala Harris just giggles her way through every interview she does. I don't know. I think she must have one of her aides must be dropping a bag of feathers into her pants every 5 minutes or something, because she never stops giggling. Within days of the re-election of Donald J. Trump, the Biden-Harris administration gave the greatest sponsor of world terrorism, Iran, $10 billion as a gift. Now, if that doesn't show you what Biden and the lunatics on the left are really all about, nothing ever will. Let's not forget that behind them is Barack Obama. He's still pulling the strings. This is Obama's third term. He's just not there in the White House. He's on the end of his phone. He's sending emails by secure link and so on. He's telling them what to do. This is what Obama wants. He wants to spread despondency and alarm all over the world. What do they think Iran is going to do with all that money? I'll tell you what they're going to do. They're going to sponsor more terrorists, more terrorism, and more death. Bloodshed. All thanks to Barack Obama, Joe Biden, and Kamala Harris. And believe me when I tell you, the Clintons are in there too. They're in it up to their filthy, rotten necks, especially Hillary. If there's skullduggery going on, Hillary Clinton's in it up to her neck. She always is. Especially if it's got anything to do with Donald J. Trump. She absolutely hates him. And, you know, this kind of personal hatred really shouldn't be tolerated anywhere in the world. But look, Iran is undoubtedly the world's largest state sponsor of global terrorism. They're sponsoring Hamas. The attack on October the 7th last year on Israel by Hamas, and well, by the Palestinians, really. Palestinians are Hamas. Hamas are the Palestinians. Let's not forget that when Hamas began their rule and control over Gaza, they were elected to that position by the so-called Palestinians, the fake people. There's no such thing as a Palestinian. Never has been. There's no such place as Palestine, and there never has been. I've done that 1,000 times. I'm not going into it again. If you can't be bothered to do the research and find out the truth about Judea and Samaria and Gaza and the Palestinians and who they really are, then I'm wasting my breath trying to convince you. I've got a lovely picture here, actually, of something that's been going on in Iran. It says this young woman is holding up a self-made placard. It's written in English, and it says, "Did you know that letting your hair blow in the wind is a crime in Iran?" It's absolutely true. Iran and the madcap ayatollahs have passed a new law in Iran that says if women show their hair, they will suffer the death penalty. How about that? Just for letting your hair fall down, not having it covered up. Death penalty. That's what Joe Biden is sponsoring with $10 billion, billion with a B. What you have to do is ask yourselves, what were the Democrats, because it's not just Joe Biden, it's all the Democrats, the lunatic left, what were they hoping to achieve with this terrorist fund that they've handed over to Iran? What do these destroyers, because that's what they are, what do they want to happen? You have to bear in mind that this has been happening while Iran was jailing and beating a young woman called Ahu Darai. I hope I got that right. Darai, who has completely disappeared. What she did was she walked down the street, not only showing her hair, but she was only wearing a pair of panties and a bra. And they arrested her, and she's disappeared. Nobody can find her. Nobody knows where she is. She was arrested for protesting against oppression of women. And let's be fair, that's exactly what's going on in Iran. Iran has passed a death penalty for women who show their hair. So it is oppression. And yet the lunatics on the left are always shouting about women's rights. And then they go and hand over $10 billion to the world's greatest state sponsor of global terrorism, and the death sentence hanging over a young woman for walking down the street in what effectively was a bikini. I can't say I honestly approve of young women walking about half naked. I can't say I really approve of that. But at the end of the day, that's only an opinion. And it's my opinion. I'm not going to force it on anybody else. Everybody else has the right to choose. And this young woman has chosen. It's not that she's chosen to walk around half naked. Let's get that right. She hasn't done that. What she's done is she has made a very effective protest against the Ayatollah regime. If this act of Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and all of the Democrats does not say to you, we are totally evil, then nothing ever will, because that's what the Democrats are. You have to remember now, we're not talking about the Democrat Party of JFK and Bobby Kennedy. It's not the same Democrat Party. Today, Jack and Bobby will both be Republicans. There can be no doubt about that at all. At the end of the day, there is more than a small amount of evidence to suggest that the Democrats were, as a party, were responsible for murdering both the Kennedy brothers, because they were doing things the right way. They were representing the American people who elected Jack and Bobby, who was standing up for democracy and running for president as well when he was assassinated. The Democrats are absolutely, totally evil. Now, I've been looking around and I've found some stuff on X, the former Twitter, and it says Iran's new law. This is a post, by the way. In Iran's new law allows the death penalty for showing your hair in public or any kind of public nudity. This young woman, I'll have another go at her name, Ahu, that's AHOO, Ahu Darai. Daryaei, who very courageously, in my opinion, protested against compulsory hijab laws, and has found herself in terrible trouble, very deep water. Across Iran, people are destroying Iranian flags. They're burning their own flags in defiance of the regime. We need to stand with the people of Iran. The people of Iran are not terrorists, not like the Palestinians. They are all terrorists. But they're actually good and decent people. And, you know, under the Shah's regime, I can remember the Shah's regime, young women were walking around in the 60s in exactly the same way as they were in London's Carnaby Street or in San Francisco in the United States. They were just normal people. But then came the Ayatollahs and started jamming this crazy lunatic religion that they have down everybody's throat and taking away all the democratic and human rights of females in that country. What I would suggest is that you maybe have a look on X, thanks to Mr. Elon Musk, who is now the richest man in the world, or richest person in the world. Hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars he's got in his pocket. So it gives him a big say in all sorts of things. But he's taken over this platform, which used to be Twitter, and it's become a place where you can actually have your say, and so, you know, you can say pretty much what you want within reason. There are still rules about what you can and can't say. Making threats and things like that is still out of order. But if you want to express a political opinion, you can do so on X now, whereas when it was Twitter, you couldn't. You would get banned because Jack Dorsey and people that took over from him afterwards, after he retired from the platform, running the platform, they just wouldn't allow people to speak their minds because they're a bunch of communists and they won't allow other people to have an opinion. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken said on November the 8th that it is in the national security interest of the United States to waive mandatory economic sanctions that bar Iran from transferring upward of $10 billion, Iraq from transferring upward of $10 billion to Iran in electricity import payments. What a disguise. Look, Iran is the worst sponsor, the most guilty bums anywhere on the planet for sponsoring global terrorism. And they're all at it. They're sponsoring Hamas, the newly founded ISIS, Hezbollah, Boko Haram. I mean, you name the lunatic Muslim, Islam-based terrorist organization, including the Palestinians, and Iran's backing them, training them, giving them money. They're living in splendor. The leaders themselves are living somewhere in beautiful hotels in Doha, I believe. The people who run these organizations. Boko Haram is a particularly bloodthirsty terrorist organisation, Islamic terrorist organisation. They don't believe anybody but themselves have got a right to breathe the same air. But, here we go. This is where it's at. This is what it's all about. Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and their puppet master, Barack Insane Obama, are handing money over to the Iranians to produce another pile of dead bodies through state-sponsored terrorism. Make no mistake about it. This terrorism will reach the streets of New York, Detroit, Chicago, and as far as San Francisco and Los Angeles, across the United States. Biden's open border policy will mean that more and more terrorists will start flooding over the border before Donald Trump becomes president, and they'll be bringing with them the means to create havoc with their terrorism because Joe Biden gave all this money to Iran. There will be people dying in the streets of London, the streets of Amsterdam, the streets of Bonn, the streets of Berlin, the streets of Paris. People will be dying by the bushel because this state-sponsored terrorism is being paid for by Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Barack Obama and the Clintons. Is being paid for by the United States taxpayer. And the poor old United States taxpayer doesn't even know it's happening. Watch out for it. If there's a concert somewhere, a big football match, or any kind of public event where many hundreds or even thousands of people are gathered, these terrorists are going to start planting bombs. And remember, it's been the policy of the lunatic left now for 30 years to let these people straight in over the border into whatever country they want to go into. No papers, no documents, no passports, no money, no education, nothing required from them. When they arrive, they get money from the taxpayer handed out to them by the government. They get free housing, free schools, free education, free healthcare, free stuff. All paid for by taxpayers like you and me. And they are already here in our countries. They are the vanguard military aspect, the vanguard military arm of terrorism, terrorist organizations. And they are going to start planting bombs. They are going to start killing more people. And they're all doing it. They'll all be doing it because they're getting money from Iran to do it. And Iran got the money from Joe Biden, Barack Obama, and Kamala Harris. This has to come to an end. And I do hope and pray that when Mr. Trump becomes the 47th president of the United States, he will find allies all over the world to bring Iran to its knees and hunt down the terrorist organizations and destroy them. And his policy of mass deportations to get them out of the United States should be adopted by every country across the world. Get rid of them, because all they want to do is kill us. To invite a murderer into your own home is an act of suicidal lunacy. And that's exactly what the politicians have done on our behalf. It demonstrates very clearly they've never been working for us. So it's time to dispose of them as well. So when we dispose of the illegal immigrants who come in, and not just illegal immigrants, people who are legal as well. They're all terrorists. They're working for Islamic organisations, fundamentalists, and so on. We need to get rid of them all. And when we do, let them take the politicians with them as well. They don't want to go? No problem. Put them in handcuffs, put them in shackles around their feet, hog tie them, throw them onto a boat and dump them on a beach in Libya. And, you know, who cares what happens to them? They've betrayed us, so get rid of them. It's prudent to note that the Biden-Harris administration have never had any other intention than to lift the sanctions against Iran, to allow them to continue to sponsor terrorist attacks all over the world, and to fund what ostensibly is mass murder, and in the case of Hamas, mass kidnapping as well. So it's important that we all remember what Biden and his administration have done, and those people who are behind him. And it's important that we recognise that this man must pay the price of his peccadillos. Brothers and sisters, nice little news update. I hope it brings you up to date with what's going on a little bit around the world. And thanks for tuning in to Freeline FM with me, Rabbi Israel Ben Heyman. It's good to see you. Next time we'll have another news story for you, which I hope is just as intriguing. Until then, bye-bye for now, and God bless you.
Brothers and sisters, thank you for being with us here again at Freeline FM. Until next time, goodbye for now, and God bless you.